Welcome, everyone. We are back for the F1 edition of the Sports is Sadaji and Friends podcast. And top topic today is right on your screen: smooth operator, or whatever is that in Spanish, because every commentator on F1 TV and Sky Sports was trying to, say things in Espanol and just failing horribly at it. But yeah, the smooth operator took out Mexico. Not the Mexican Minister of Defense, as many hoped. Uh, Carlos Sainz won the race from pole position. It was a Ferrari 1-3. It was very close to being a Ferrari 1-2, but yeah. McLaren once again showed that they're strong at the end of stints.
Hmm.
But Aniket, before you talk about Ferrari, what happened to the hometown boy?
He gets a zero from me. You
He
cannot
finished last.
finish last in a race in your home race. It can should never happen to anybody. So I
Yeah,
don't know why that happened, but definitely we saw the worst of Sergio Perez. And Red Bull was specifically saying that he'll be good at certain races, and Mexico was one of them. And he
yeah,
totally
and he,
flopped this race. And you cannot finish behind your teammate who had a massive penalty, and he finished in the top seven or something, and you finished last.
yeah,
That
he was
cannot happen.
six.
I don't care if you finish, if you got admitted in Q1, you are in a Red Bull, which is supposed to be the top three car on the grid.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have no no authority to finish last in a race, and squabbling with Alpha Tauri for half the race as well. So not a good sign for Sergio and the rest of these races, and definitely he could be cut
Yeah,
before the end of the season. Any now,
yeah. I mean, that's what I wanted to say, right? Last time we were there, we were talking about, will Sergio Perez's contract be void for next season,
yeah.
right? And now it's like, hey, will he even continue this season? Uh, okay, just one second. StreamYard lost my camera. Let me refresh.
Yeah. So while
Give me.
Pratyush gets that camera back, definitely Sergio has a lot of there's a lot of question marks on his driving at this point, because apart from the Baku race where he was finishing in the top three, but after the incident with Science, he had to retire. It's been a string of very disappointing races, summed up by this last race where he finished nowhere, fighting with a lower end car. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's Sergio Perez's season in a nutshell. He's the first few races were good. I think the first four races were good in the season, and then apart from that, everything else has been just downhill.
Yeah, and even last season when he was having his struggles, right? Last season he had a strong start, right? He won two races and then he kind of struggled. But he still came back, right? He finished the season
Yeah,
second in championship. He had a very good Mexico outing last season. He didn't win, but still he had a good showing, right? And he ensured that Red Bull has a 1-2 in the in the drivers' championship, right? But yeah, this season has just been terrible, right? Like, yeah, I don't know what to say about Perez, man. Like, I'm out of words at this point. Like, come on, man. You finish behind Liam Lawson, which is a worse Red Bull, right? It's a worse car, and RB was the junior Red Bull was struggling all weekend, right? Like Sunoda crashed out. I mean, through no fault of his own, but he still crashed out. Lawson also, I mean, he started 12, but through for whatever reasons he fell down the grid. He was in P16, but yeah, he was P16, and who was behind him? Sergio Perez. And the funniest part, Aniket, was that at the end, when Ferrari pit Charles for the fastest lap, immediately Red Bull reacts. They're like, Sergio, let's take the point away from Ferrari, and he neither got the fastest lap, and he was actually P15 or 14 at that point, right? He was not last. But then they pit him. He didn't get the fastest lap, and he finished last. So it's like,
double whammy.
yeah, man.
I mean, it's
Uh,
like Red Bull are just using him at this point for fastest laps and some kind of a I don't know test bed at this point, because he's definitely not performing. Red Bull are not in the constructors for sure. So what's the
yeah,
use,
yeah,
And who are they going to replace him with is the question. Maybe after this race, they have another 3 week break. So will they replace him with Lawson in that car? I don't know. Who is the right person to replace him? Nobody knows at this point. I think Red Bull
yeah.
absolutely messed up their entire driving decision. of the second
Yeah,
car, and they've been doing that from the last couple of years since Sergio, when last season when Sergio's job was on the line, and this season they
yeah,
still haven't rectified it. So we'll see. But enough of Sergio, man. We need to get to the main man. We need to get to the smooth operator.
yes. The smooth operator. Man, it's kind of ironic that even in a such a small podcast, Carlos doesn't get his day when he wins a race. We end up talking about Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back to the main guy, Carlos Sainz. Again, fantastic weekend from him. He's really showing. I think he's really showing Ferrari what they'll be missing next season. Right? I mean, especially next season. Let's say Ferrari are a strong car, right? Let's assume Ferrari continues their form. But let's say for whatever reason Lewis has, a weak season, right? I mean, I'm not saying I know you're a Lewis fan, but let's say, hypothetically, let's say Lewis Hamilton has a shocker of a season again next season, right?
Mm,
The whole world will be telling Ferrari, including Carlos Sainz, why did you fire Carlos Sainz, right? I think
mm.
Carlos is really making his case to Ferrari. They should not have let go of him. Yeah, very very strong performance from him. He was strong all weekend, wasn't he? I mean, he got pole position qualifying, storm out of a lap, and then he starts off the race. People behind him were quarreling, and he just takes that opportunity to just ride off into the distance. Like Max and Lando were quarreling at turn one, right?
Yeah.
Charles took an advantage, went into P2. Max and Lando kept quarreling, and we'll get to Max and Lando in a minute. But Aniket has a lot of thoughts on that. But
We have a
but yeah,
special headline for that.
but yeah, eventually, yeah, Carlos was just cheering in the front, and he was so much ahead that Lando, even after the typical McLaren late stint performance, because the tires don't apparently wear
Mm.
out so quickly. Lando tried to catch him, but yeah, he ran out of laps. Still 5 seconds behind Carlos. Yeah, excellent
Yeah,
race.
I think Carlos definitely outshined Charles. And whenever Carlos wins, it seems like he's got like the 10 on 10 weekend, right? Right from
Yeah,
practice to the
yeah,
race, he's
yeah,
beating his teammate fair and square. He's got the car, under his, what do you say? He's got the car fine tuned so well that he's going to like basically finish the qualifying session on pole, and then win the race
right.
by a good decent margin and outperform his teammate. And that's what happened. I think we saw this similar kind of a script play out in Australia. Remember the second race of the season where Carlos, I think, started second on the grid, then he overtook
Yeah,
Max, and then he never looked back. Same thing happened in this race. He started on
yeah,
pole. Obviously, Max got in front in the first corner when he got a better start. But then Carlos kept his cool. He did not, never he never lost his cool. And as a smooth operator he is, he got past Max within on by lap 8 or something. And
yep,
then because I would say Lando definitely had the fastest race car this in Mexico. And if not for the entire squabble with Max, maybe he would have put a little more pressure on Carlos. But once that started
yeah,
happening, Carlos had a clear path to victory. I don't think anybody was challenging him. Charles was definitely not there on Carlos's pace this weekend. And just
yeah,
a very good job. And when you say Ferrari will miss Carlos next season, definitely there'll be some elements of his driving skills where Ferrari might miss in certain races next season. But he's going to be a huge asset for Williams now. And
oh yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how he helps Williams in their direction towards becoming a point scoring team and ultimately becoming,
yeah.
probably
Mm.
the Formula A team, which we Aston Martin has been in the last few years.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think Williams definitely. I mean, over the last two seasons, they have been, right from the time they got, investment, right, from Doleton Ventures, who bought out Player. I think Williams have been doing very well. They made the right move in poaching James Vowles from Mercedes. Um, Last year, Williams had a very good car on the straights. You could see on a lot of the high speed tracks. Albon would casually pop in a P2 in Q2, right? Like, you just casually go in the top five or top six in qualifying. In this season, also, we see Williams putting a lot of good quality performances. And I think
Mhm.
Carlos will help them make the next step, to actually getting the most out of the car, right?
Yeah.
Because Albon, obviously, is not, I mean, Carlos is probably the way better driver compared to Alex Albon. And we already saw Williams this year when they replaced, Sargent with Colapinto, how much more performance they were able to extract from the
Mm.
car, right? And somebody's making a comparison, right? I think it was Alan Prost who won the Mexican Grand Prix with Ferrari, and then 3 years later he won the title with Williams. Uh, so they're like, okay, Carlos on the Prost arc, right?
Hmm. Could be. I don't know. But which year Alan Prost win a title with Williams? Was it like
I think the early 90s,
94?
90 or 91. No, 94 was Michael. So I'm getting 93 or 92, I'm guessing.
93, I guess, then maybe. Yeah, 93.
Yeah, 93. I don't
93
know. Should
seems
ask
right.
Seb. Seb knows every race, every constructors drivers winner.
Yeah, maybe 93. Because 94 he was with, he retired, I think, by 94. So that's why.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
retired. He retired, and he was saying Senna would win, but then Senna had the tragic
Senna and
crash.
Prost were supposed to be teammates, but I think before that Prost retired or something.
No, Senna and Prost were teammates earlier in McLaren.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
why
mean,
Prost.
in Williams they were supposed to be teammates
Yeah,
again.
but then Senna stuck on, and then Senna and Schumacher having that fight early on the season, and then Senna had the
Yeah,
tragic
yeah,
crash. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, I think even Damon Hill was strong that year later. But yeah, I think good outing for Carlos Sainz, really showing what he's capable of.
And he said he wanted to win one last race, or at least one more race with Ferrari, and
Right,
definitely.
right, yeah.
With the way the car is behaving, I would not be surprised if he wins another race before the end of the
Yeah, I
season.
think Vegas is another strong Ferrari track. So I mean, if
Mm.
he has a good weekend, he can pick Charles again, right? So we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, moving on. We're moving on to the guy who lives rent free in Aniket's
the
head.
worst driver in F1, the guy who cannot have a wheel to wheel battle in a championship battle.
Yep,
Get the
we are.
headline out. We need to
Yeah,
talk
yeah, I'm
about
just
it.
getting. Yeah, I'm just getting the headline out. But yeah, we are of course talking about Max Verstappen and Lando Norris.
Yeah,
There we go. Now it should be up. Yep. We're talking about Max and Lando. Yeah, I'll let you take away this section, Aniket. What happened between Verstappen and Norris this weekend?
yeah. So before we actually had the festival of fireworks this week, we had it last week on the track between Max and Lando. Fireworks, sparks, I don't know whatever you want to call it. So we obviously been seeing as the title battle has heated up that these guys are going head to head on track. The McLaren, if it starts behind the Red Bull, has got much superior race pace than the Red Bull, and we see Lando and Max come to blows often. So we've seen that over the last couple of races now in Austin and now again in Mexico. And what we've seen from Max Verstappen right from back in 2021 is that whenever he's in a close championship battle with someone, he goes beyond limits to force the other driver out of his natural game, basically force him out on track whenever the other driver wants to overtake. We saw it in 2021 in Saudi Arabia and also in Brazil, where he had probably two of the worst races at the front when trying to
Even
defend a lead.
even Monza. Remember when he climbed
Yeah,
Lewis?
you can add Monza to the list as well. So basically, we've seen that whenever he's in close battles over the past few years, that he's gone
Yeah.
to lengths where he gets penalties and massive penalties at that. Obviously, he didn't get it that much in 2021, wherein he deserved to get, but now this time he got a 20-second penalty, which could have been a drive-through penalty or stop-go penalty. I don't know, race ban as well. Who knows? But yeah, I think what happened was Lando was behind Max P3 on the road, and he was quickly catching up to him like the McLaren does generally in race trim, and he
Yeah.
got a good run outside on turn one. Was it turn one? I think turn one, right? So turn one,
Yeah, at the
and
end of the DRS.
was it turn one or turn three? Sorry, the first time.
No, I think it was turn three. End of the no, I think it was turn three. End of the DRS. Because he got two DRS right, so Lando
Okay,
came really close.
so turn three.
Yeah,
Let's okay. So turn three was the first one where he got his nose ahead, and
yeah,
Verstappen basically pushed him off the track, protecting the lead. I think that was still okay because Verstappen went completely around, completely towards the edge of the track, but still stayed in the track limits. So maybe that was okay, fine. If you want to let it go, you could have. But he still pushed Norris off the track, which was wrong. And
yeah.
then turn seven, man. What the hell was that? He came speeding down the inside. Verstappen came speeding down the inside, trying to prove a point to Lando that I'm the boss here. Was nowhere near to making the corner, and pushed Lando off the track. Lando got easily crashed, and that's the championship over.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Lando kept on track, so we have a championship still, you know, in play with four races to go. And
Right.
that's what she wrote. Verstappen gets a 20-second penalty for forcing a driver off the track both the times, and he fell down the order. And Lando, if not for that, could have been fighting with Charles for the lead if he had got past Verstappen in a cleaner manner. I feel that he could have caught Charles, and I'm not sure he would have passed him, or at least the race would have been even more interesting at the front.
Oh, you
But
mean Carlos?
nevertheless, a lot of guys have now criticized Verstappen even further. We've seen a lot of comments from Johnny Herbert, Martin Brundle, suggesting Max should change his driving style. He's never going to change the driving style. But if this keeps
Yep.
happening, he's just going to get more and more penalties because it's just not in his personality to yield to someone who was much quicker than him. And instead, it's like I would say, a tactical foul, right? You see in football, like whenever the
Yeah.
guy threw on goal and the person wants to prevent a goal, he tackles and gets a yellow card to save the goal scoring opportunity. Similar to
Right.
that, Max goes beyond the limits, pushes the driver off the track, and in turn, he didn't allow Lando to win, and he always also recovered to sixth place, saving some
Yeah.
championship points where it doesn't get to a point where he's losing all his lead. So
Yeah.
I
He
think
only
that's my
lost.
2 cents on this.
Yeah. He ensured he only lost. I think he was going for only being like I think he calculated that even if he say and gets a penalty, finishes behind George, if Charles could hold him off, right, and he would still only be 8 points. He would only lose 8 points. But yeah, Lando made that late overtake on Charles and got 3 more points. But yeah,
Mm.
that's still only he only lost 10 points, right? I mean,
Yeah,
otherwise, if Lando had overtaken him sooner, maybe Lando would have caught signs as well, and then that's like a massive 17 point
yeah.
thing on stream.
I mean, because I would think Charles also would have overtaken Max by that time. Sorry, not yeah,
Right,
Max for P3, and then say if
exactly.
Norris
Yeah,
finished first and Max finished fourth, then that's a bigger swing, right? Then second and
yep,
sixth.
yep. So yeah, I think Max made a very like calculated thing. But yeah, I mean that's what we have seen Max do all the time, right? We saw in 2021. Um, I mean the thing is, yeah, I mean I think F1 has been inconsistent for a long time at this point. Um, and yeah, I think every driver has kind of capitalized on F1 being inconsistent. Oh, thank you, StreamYard. Um, I think every driver, I mean, whether it's Lewis or even, people talk fondly about Senna, but Senna drove very dirtily, right? It was the entire reason he and Prost had a beef was that Prost was like, I'm being clean, you're not being clean, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Prost and Senna, I mean, they pushed each other off the track multiple times. They banged into the wall, and they were teammates. They're not even
Yeah,
on opposing. They were freaking teammates, right? Same thing saw Lewis and Nico in 2016. They were driving each other off the track. But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, definitely Lewis. I think not Lewis. Sorry, I mean Max. I think Max definitely takes it to the next level.
it
And we
does,
have
it
seen
does.
this side of Max right from when he came to the sport, right? 17 at 17 years, he came to F1. He's in Toro Rosso, and people are like, man, this guy's driving people off the track, right? Like this has always been Max Verstappen, right? I think he's just very, very ultra competitive. He will bend every rule in the book to lose the least number of points. And I think
Mm.
at this point we should place equal blame even on F1, right? Like their
We should
stewardship has
F1, Red Bull, because even Christian Horner and whoever is there in the Red Bull, they're defending some of his actions on track, which is so shock. It's not shocking, but it's just so sad, I would say, because
right.
he's getting a penalty and you're still trying to defend him is like
See, I
outrageous.
mean,
Like, so you're basically encouraging him to do it further.
yeah, I mean, see, Horner will always defend his
He'll
driver,
always
but
defend, but I understand. But
but
it's
I'm
as
talking
you
about
said, the
I'm
F1
talking
or
about F1.
F1 fraternity also
Yeah,
has to take a,
exactly.
a big stance against this.
And like this is not the first time, right? I mean, the FI has been historically inconsistent. Right? It's not like 2024 or 2021 is the first time they've been inconsistent, right? Like the this clip surfaced the other day, and like I like obviously I was a big Schumacher fan, but even I will tell you there was this incident where um, Schumacher and Montoya come together, at turn one in some
Imola,
race. Yeah, Imola. Schumacher
2004.
bangs into. Schumacher bangs into Montoya and then drives away, and Montoya gets a penalty. Like, come on, man, this is that. It was obviously ridiculous, right? Montoya should not have got a penalty there. Schumacher just drove into him. But that
Mm.
just shows you how inconsistent. I mean, F1 has been always, right? It's not the first time, and I don't know if that will ever change. I hope it changes, right? See, drivers will always push, as much as possible, right? Like we always see teams trying to bend, around the regulations, to get the maximum performance out of the car. And drivers will do the same thing, right? They're driving at 200 miles an hour. They're not going to think about what the rule is, unless they learn that this is not going to fly, right? I mean,
Yeah.
uh, like in 2021, Max used to drive Lewis off the track. Lewis would, I mean, you remember Silverstone when Lewis just, at cops, that whole thing. I mean, what did Lewis get? 5 second penalty. And then Interlagos, Max drives Lewis at the track. Max gets nothing, right? I mean, this should have been going on for longer than Max and Lewis, right? I mean, pretty sure we can bring out Lewis or even Schumacher or Montoya. Montoya did plenty
Yeah,
of,
but
stupid shit.
but there's only one driver that's been consistently there. It's Max Verstappen, who's always been there in the incidents.
Yeah, no,
You
what I'm
can
saying
talk
is
about
every
Lewis.
regulation.
Lewis might have been involved with a couple, but Max has always been there. His name is always echoed with dirty driving in the last
Yeah,
few
and
years.
he has seen that F1 won't punish, right? He has seen that F1 lets these things fly, right?
And he
And
knows, right? Because he's only going to get a 10-second penalty. So, as you said earlier, it's all calculated, right? He's not allowing his closest rival to get more
exactly.
points of him. And he's
Yeah.
also playing a game where he can save some points because he knows that the other drivers behind are not as quick. And
Yeah.
he can still climb up to a respectable position to avoid losing points. So, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
like even what was that race? Austria, where Lando was faster, right? He banged into Lando and he finished the race and Lando had to
Yeah.
DNS, right? He made so many points, right? Just there.
I mean, say Lando would have crashed at turn 7 or turn 8. I'm just trying to think what would have been the penalty to Max. Like,
Right.
I mean, definitely a race ban should have been should have been like the obvious thing that should have happened if Lando would have crashed. And
Yeah, I mean,
you can never say never, right? With these things, say Lando. He's an F1 driver. He's one of the top drivers in the sport. But you never know. Sometimes you might just crash because they're not able to control
yeah,
the car.
yeah. Yeah, I think F1 I think the only time F1 really came down hard was I guess what is it? I think 97 or 98 when
Yeah,
Schumacher
the
just
Schumacher
swerved his
thing,
car into Villeneuve and Schumacher was banned for the season, right?
disqualified. Yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, we saw after that Schumacher still continued to do bullshit because he knew F1 won't punish him. So I mean, everybody knows how inconsistent F1 is, and like even now, right? Like we have these, F1 has like three or four race directors, right? They have like a VAR equal and all this crap, and still they don't do shit, right? Like they take so long to even declare a safety car a red flag, man. Like a car will crash, and that car are still going for 2 laps, and then suddenly, oh yeah, safety car, safety car, safety car. Like, come on, can't you see like what the hell are you doing in the race director's room, man? Like why does it still take F1 so long to even declare a red flag or a safety car, right? It's really ridiculous. Like you have a
yeah,
VAR room, you have a main race director, you have all these people, and still nothing happens, right?
I agree.
Yeah, I think F1, yeah, F1 has always been that way. But yeah, if you move on to other drivers, Aniket, your man beat George Russell once again.
This is a running joke, right? If George Russell starts P4 and Lewis Hamilton starts P20, Lewis Hamilton will still finish close to George Russell, and that's what is happening again. Happened again.
Yep, yep.
I mean, they were on
Just
different specifications. I don't know which one was better than the other, but yeah, Lewis, he's better at race trim. We all know it. He's getting a
yeah,
little worse in qualifying, unfortunately. But in the races, he's
yeah.
still
But I
better
think
than George.
yeah, I think also Mercedes probably set up more for George, right? It's
Mercedes is
better.
anyway like it's like such. I mean, we're going to do an end of season review in a few more races, but what a weird
Yeah.
season for them, man. At one point in the middle of the season, we were like, oh, they're winning races. They could be challenging for the constructors' championship, and now they're like back
And now we're
to
back to fourth and
the
fifth
fourth
and fifth
best
and
team. Not in fifth and sixth again. Come on, I don't know what their development is like so off track at
yeah,
this point. Like they don't still don't know what they're doing.
yeah. They're still trying to understand the car, right? It's like the third season
This is
of a new
what
regulation.
third year in this what is the regulation cycle. Still trying to
Yeah,
understand the car. Yeah, that's
yeah,
not as good. That's poor.
yeah. But yeah, I think Oscar had a forgettable weekend. P8, nowhere close to
Definitely
Lando.
one of his worst weekends in
One of
F1.
his worst weekends. Yeah,
I mean, you started P16 and you only finished P7, and that too behind Verstappen or a 20-second penalty. So yeah, not an ideal
he,
weekend.
He was also behind K Mag, who finished P7.
Oh, so Oscar is P8. Sorry, I forgot. K-Mag
Yeah,
is a 10
yeah,
on 10 this weekend. I don't know how he got that to
yeah.
P7. Started
I think
P7,
both.
finished P7, didn't lose a place. And he was 5
Yeah,
seconds behind Verstappen also, so imagine.
yeah, exactly. And I think K Mag finished ahead of the Hulk as well, right? I mean, all season
Yeah,
people are like the Hulk is a better driver, and now last couple of races K Mag is like, oh yeah, sorry.
I know, right? It's just the end of season thing, and when you don't have a drive for next season, you just tend to like put your every effort into trying to
Yeah,
do your best. So
yeah. Borrowing a soccer analogy, it's like Marcus Rashford when he was playing for a contract.
exactly.
But yeah, I was also again really, I mean, positively surprised to see Alpine get a point as well, right?
Yeah.
Gasly finished 10th, ahead of Lance Stroll. Yeah, by the way, what the hell is the matter with Aston Martin, man? They're completely fallen off. They're
Oh
like not even.
man. So Alonso retired from his 400 Grand Prix, just like he retired from his 300 Grand Prix, just like he retired from his 200 Grand Prix. So basically, he might now retire from his 500 Grand Prix as well because we know he's going to be there. So yeah, that's like I mean they're waiting for next season as we all know. Adrian New is coming in. This season is like a wash for them anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, how much can Adrian Newey help them, man? That car is.
That car requires some massive. We'll see with Honda also. I don't know what Honda will do from next season onwards.
Yeah, like one driver is a joke and one is washed. I mean, like.
Exactly.
I mean,
So
they are still fifth in the championship right now because Haas is like 40 points behind.
yeah,
But yeah, if Haas keeps trying to, if Haas keeps putting these, good finishes, like they got 8 points this race, right? And yeah, if they keep getting these double points finishes, maybe we'll have a P5 photo finish at the end of the year, right? Because Aston Martin looks nowhere close to getting points at all at this point.
Haas is
They have what?
clearly stamping their authority on what the fifth best
Yeah,
team in F1 right now.
yeah. And even Alpine has points now. I mean, Sauber is the only team without point yet.
See now in the top 10 there's a free spot opening up for points because Sergio Perez is not able to finish even in the top 10.
Exactly,
So that's
exactly.
why
Yeah.
Haas is able to capitalize. Other teams also able to capitalize.
But you know what the funniest thing is? In a 20 driver championship, both the Saubers are 21st and 23rd.
The car has been garbage this season. I mean, Valtteri did an amazing job to get it into Q2, and then yeah, that was probably his
I mean,
best
they
race
had,
of the
they had
season.
difficulties with pit stops all season, right? They had horrible pit stops and all that. But yeah, another forgettable weekend for Sauber. But yeah, I think that's what it for.
And Franco Colapinto, unfortunately, for the first time in F1, finished outside of the points. But
Yep,
he's
yep.
been having
But
a great season, man. We're gonna talk
oh yeah,
about where he will drive. We still don't have any idea, but
yeah.
definitely he needs to be there in F1.
Yeah, I think before we move on to Brazil, for a quick 2 minute summary on Colapinto, right? There has been a lot of speculation that Red Bull might try to poach Colapinto from Williams if they get rid of Sergio. Because if they get rid of Sergio, they've already gotten rid of Ricardo's, right? So they have one free spot. And apparently, Helmut Marko is a fan more of Colapinto rather than their academy. And
Mm.
apparently, Colapinto is also close to Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim, who is Sergio Perez's sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
So there is like wild speculation on the paddock that they can convince Carlos Slim to sponsor Colapinto instead, and then maybe they'll
Mm.
put him in the RB and promote Liam Lawson next to Max, right? Not Yuki Tsunoda, but Liam Lawson, and put Colapinto in the second team, and yeah, continue to get. I think basically they want a way to get Mr. Mexican billionaire's money, which is a lot, right? I think he
Mm.
sponsors like what 80 million a year or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think if Carlos Slim promises to sponsor Colapinto, and apparently Colapinto has in the Spanish Latin American world, he has a lot of connections. So if Colapinto managed to get that sweet sweet Mexican money, yeah, it's bye bye Perez.
Yeah, I agree. Like he's definitely going to be on the radar for Red Bull. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how much it will take to buy him out of his whatever contract he's on with Williams or whatever reserve driver contract he might have.
Yeah, but I don't think that should be much, right? I mean, it's what reserve driver for Williams. I don't think that's going to cost a lot to break. Red Bull has plenty of money
Yeah,
to throw.
and I don't know if I think for me, Franco should definitely go straight up to the Red Bull car and not to the RB car. I think he's better than Liam Lawson.
Yeah,
Liam
yeah,
Lawson is having a, I mean, as Sergio Perez said, he does not have a good attitude sometimes, so that might be a bit
yeah,
of a challenge.
yeah.
And
He might have the Yuki Tsunoda problem, right?
yeah, so I think that's a good option. I'm not sure what Sauber's plans are for the second seat. They still haven't decided, who the driver will be uh, alongside Nico Hulkenberg for next season. Maybe Sauber might have an interest. So
Yeah, but apparently
yeah,
many drivers don't want to go to Sauber because they're so behind everybody else,
yeah.
right?
But and the
Uh,
Audi thing also happening from 26. I'm not sure they're going to be anywhere near the front or even close to scoring points because that's going to take some time to materialize
yeah,
to being a good
exactly.
car. So
Yeah, that's going to take a lot of investment, a lot of money,
yeah,
a lot of yeah. Probably that's like a 3 season project at minimum to get them
exactly.
anywhere. And a young
I
driver
don't
may
know.
not want
He's
a
going to be a
young
hot
talent.
property for sure.
Yeah, no, but also
He's
a
got
young
4 more
talented.
races for showing whatever he's worth. He's already shown that
Yeah,
he's worth being in F1 now. There's a few more things that he can show, I guess.
yeah, but also a young talented driver like Colapinto or Liam Lawson, or they might not want to go to Sauber and waste like 4 years
Hmm.
of their. They lose all their street cred, right?
Exactly.
I mean, isn't that what Oscar did? Basically, he saw the Alpine shit and voided his
Yeah,
contract, waited a year on the sidelines, and basically came to McLaren, right? And like, can you imagine if Oscar was at Alpine this season, nobody would have talked about him, right? He would be like finishing P15 or whatever every
exactly.
race, right? So yeah, yeah,
Well,
we'll
just
see.
a correction. This was not Oscar's. Sorry, Colapinto's first race, not in the point. I think in Monza as well, he did not finish in the
Yes,
points. But yeah, just
yeah,
a
yeah,
second race.
yeah, yeah. But that's
Second
pretty good.
or yeah,
That's pretty
sorry,
good for a rookie. He hasn't even driven at half the tracks and he's getting points, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
With no
And yeah,
testing experience also.
there's also speculation that Williams might get rid of Alex Albon and just getting Colo Pinto instead
Exactly.
next
Exactly.
to Carlos Sainz. Yeah, a lot of wild speculation going on. But yeah, moving on to Brazil. Yeah, Aniket, what do you think? FP1 quickly. Lando was fastest. Second was George Russell. Maybe they understand the car again. Uh, and
Don't. I'm
Ollie
not going to pay attention to the maximum series timing, so you can just skip them.
and Ollie Behrman was third. I think Ollie Behrman is again
Oliver
K-Mag
Behrman
is
was
sick.
in because K-Mag is sick. Yeah, correct. For
K-Mag is
just for
sick,
the
so he's
session. Mm.
yeah, just for FP1. But we'll see if K-Mag doesn't recover, he'll probably race in the sprint as well.
No,
But
if
yeah, we'll
K-Mag
see.
doesn't recover, then he cannot race, right? For the race as well. Because now we have sprint quali in just about
Yeah, yeah.
half an
I'm
hour or
saying if
something.
K-Mag doesn't recover, it'll be Ollie Behrman this weekend.
Throughout the
If
weekend, right? So yeah. I don't think you
because
can
Park,
have one driver in sprint and one driver in the race, right? I'm not sure how the
I don't
rules
think so.
work.
I don't think so. Park for me starts at sprint qualifying, right? So yeah.
No, I think they can still do changes to the car because there's another free practice tomorrow.
No, no, there's no free practice tomorrow.
Oh, okay. There's the sprint race and race qualifying. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Sorry,
it's
sorry.
Park for
Mm.
me. So there is because we are the quali after the sprint race,
Yes,
there
yes.
was a proposal to kind of
Yeah.
open up park
Relax the
after
rules. Mm.
after the sprint and between before qualifying so that they can get some tweaks done. But yeah, I don't think that's gone anywhere. But yeah,
Mm.
if Kmart doesn't recover in the next 30 minutes, it'll be
Yeah.
Oli Bearman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think FP1 it's hard to draw conclusions, right? FP1 is always a wild card, right?
And in a sprint weekend, definitely is the biggest wild card.
Yeah. But what's
I
your
mean, but
predictions?
we need to also mention Max Verstappen had a 5 place grid drop for the main
Yes.
race on Sunday for changing his
Yes.
IC.
Yeah.
So he did not get a 10 place grid drop because he already had taken one early in the season. And subsequently, you only get a 5 place grid drop for every change. That's why it's
Ah,
only
I see.
five. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
So,
5 less penalty for Max.
so that will
Which
help
I'm
Lando
guessing.
provided Lando finishes, I mean, finishes P1 in sprint, P1 in quali, and then finish P1 the race, which I don't trust him in any sort of manner to finish
You
at.
know, what will probably happen is, if Max say finishes P2 or P3 in quali, he's probably on the fourth, right? P7 or P8, right? Let's say it's P8, right? And let's say Lando is on pole, right? What happens when Lando's on pole? He just falls to P7 anyway by the end of turn one.
Exactly.
and who is there behind you? Max Verstappen. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it's
Max
gonna
will
be
be like.
interesting.
"Du-
So what? It's like 47 points between them and four races to go, and it's like a long shot now. Max is Lando's gonna come close because
Yeah,
it's gonna be like what double digit points he has to take from Max every race. That means
yeah,
Ferrari has to do him a favor. Maybe Oscar has to up his game suddenly, and one of the Mercedes will probably finish ahead of Max. So it's gonna be and Sergio Perez definitely is finishing outside the top 10. That needs to keep happening. So I
but
don't see
we know
a
what will
route
happen,
where
right?
Lando gets to
Ferrari,
overcome the deficit.
but we know what will happen. Ferrari doesn't care for the title race. They will just spoil both their races, right?
Exactly.
And then Max will probably, I think will cause a double DNF at least once before the end of the season.
I'm just waiting to see that. That's the only thing that's not happened. That's the only thing that's missing because we saw all of it in 2021. So
Yeah,
that's why. And
and
Ferrari are also fighting for the constructors. Let's remember that.
yeah, no. The other thing is, if there's a DNF for Lando in a race, right? Charles can go P2.
Oh yeah, Charles is also fighting for P2 now. So all to play for.
Charles is only 24 points behind Lando.
Mm.
So, and he's just 70 points behind Max. So
Yeah.
there's still all to play for the title. Like couple of DNFs between Max and Lando. They take each other out for a couple of races, and yeah, suddenly you have Leclerc fighting for the title.
That'll be
Yeah,
crazy if
then
it happens.
yeah, dude, it's such a wild season, man. Like, uh, yeah, and trying to find, as we before we end the stream, what is that? Remember that graphic I sent you, Aniket? 2024 Grand Prix winners, right? So
Yeah, I
many of them.
remember that.
Um,
There've
yeah,
been
where's
so
the?
many multiple race winners in this season.
Yeah, exactly. And just race winners in general, right? Like, okay, I can't find the graphic I sent you, but let me share this one as we close the stream out.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we should also do our Brazil GB predictions and close it out.
yeah, but yeah, just look at this, right?
Mm.
Max had fantastic start, and that's the only thing keeping him in the hunt at this point, right? We saw Max win what 7 races.
Seven in the first
Uh,
10.
yeah, 7 in the first 10, and then Signs won two. I think this is not updated for the
It's not
last
updated,
race.
yeah.
Yeah, but Sainz won two, Charles won two, Lando won two, Lando won three, Oscar won two. I mean, Lewis
Lewis
won
one
two,
too.
George won one, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it just been just a crazy year. And remember at the beginning of the season when we literally started a stream where we both were sleeping in the in the
I know,
stream,
right?
right? And now it suddenly becomes so exciting. And imagine how exciting 2025 will be, man. Oh my god, it's going to be
I'm waiting
insane.
for it.
2025, Lewis at Ferrari, Charles at Ferrari, and all of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
George and
coming,
Mercedes.
yeah, that's that. Sure, man, sure. Keep doing.
Lead driver. We'll see how lead driver George performs.
Yeah, lead driver Joss. Maybe Kimi Antonelli will do better. But yeah, predictions. Aniket, predictions for Brazil.
I don't know, man. I mean, I really want to see title fight. We still cannot share surety that we have a title drivers championship fight. Like as much as Lando tries to get a claws on the deficit, it's still 47 points with four races. I mean, come on. You have the better
Yeah,
car. You need to do better, man. You keep saying shit like it's easy to win a title when you have the best car, but you can't prove it when you have the best car. So
yeah, that's
please,
the
for
thing,
God's
right?
sake.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like Lando keeps talking so much shit, right? But isn't like he has so many pole positions this season, and how many wins he has? Just three to show for it, right?
I don't know. I want to go for Lando to win because we want to see a fight. Max has a
Yeah.
five-place grid drop, so you have to win this race. Come on.
Yep.
So I'll
Yep.
say Lando, Charles, and Max finishes P3 probably.
Wow. Yeah.
This is
Max
the
with P3.
race. I don't. This is the race for the race, not the sprint race, the main race.
Right. 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 Okay. Yeah. I think.
What do you got?
Yeah. I think Brazil will favor the McLaren a lot.
Yeah.
It's a very high speed track, and McLaren loves its high speed corners. So yeah, I think we'll see Lando win. Maybe Charles P2, and yeah, I actually think Oscar will come back and
Hmm.
maybe get P3. But if I really want to give a hot take, I'm going to say Oscar P1, Charles P2, and Lando P3. And Oscar is the one who kills Lando's hopes at that title.
No, but I don't. I'm not sure that can happen because I think they'll do something at the pit stops and revert it and let Ferrari. I don't know. I do you think they'll want to give up a win for allowing Lando pass Oscar? I don't know.
No, no, I know. No, no. The way I see it, Lando is not passing Oscar. Oscar just finishes on pole position. Lando is like P5 water. And then
So
Lando
Lando's
struggles
P5 in quali, according to you.
P5, P4 something, right? And then Lando struggles all race to get past,
Hmm.
the drivers in front. And Oscar just drives in clean air to the win. And
Yeah,
Lando keeps fighting Charles throughout the race and ends up P3.
that could happen. Okay, so one last
Yeah.
prediction before we go. What is the gap between Lando and Max at the end of the Brazil Grand Prix? There's a sprint race,
Ah,
which has points.
yeah.
There's a main race also.
Yeah, I don't know
So it's
the sprint
47.
is,
You think he
I
closes the
think
deficit further?
so I think he will definitely close the deficit, but I think it's going to be like I think the gap will be smaller than Mexico.
Okay. So you think it'd be like, I don't know, for 35, 40 points? 35 points in three races is doable. I don't think
Yeah.
he's getting 12 points though.
Yeah, I don't think Lando is getting 12 points even with the sprint. I think he's probably getting maybe 4 or 5 points. I mean, Max has a new engine, so they're going to really turn that engine up on the Red Bull as well.
Exactly. It's reminding me of when Lewis got the new engine in 2021 for
Yeah, and
Brazil.
then he won the race, right?
He won the race. I mean, you never know. Max could win the race with that new engine also.
Yeah, and I think we should not. I mean, I know we're just trolling and keeping McLaren and Ferrari at the top, but I think Red Bull. I think they will take the risk and turn that engine up for this weekend. There are only 4 races left, right? And
Yeah,
only if they can get one victory in 4, I think the championship is done for Max. Right? He's
done.
he's taking it
Yeah.
home. I think they really turn the engine up, reliability be damned in this race. Because
Mm-hmm.
even though they have an aero deficit, remember they still have a DRS advantage on the rest of
Yes.
the field. So if they can turn the engine up, right, just crank it really up for one race, so what if it blows out in Qatar or in Vegas next time? They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
All they need to is win Interlagos, right? So they'll just turn. I think they'll really just turn the engine up. I think they'll probably sandbag in the
Yeah.
sprint and FP1. They'll just sandbag and just
FP1 they
do.
didn't. Anyways, they were not doing anything. So we'll
Yeah,
see
yeah.
how.
I think this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think they'll sandbag in the sprint as well because sprint is what just 8 through 1, right? It's not a lot of points in the sprint. So probably
Hmm.
sandbag the sprint, keep the engine, fresh for the race. And then, yeah, I think they really turn it up for the race, whatever the party mode that Mercedes used to have. And use that DRS advantage, bend the rules a bit like every team does, right? Have that flexible wing open again. And yeah, yeah, I think Red Bull is a dark horse this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 8 victory for Max Verstappen in 2024. You never know, man. You never know.
No, no. I hope not. I
And
hope we get a championship fight still. But we'll
yeah,
see.
but I think Red Bull will be really motivated to win here because again,
Yeah.
Vegas is a strong track for Ferrari, and I think Qatar and Abu Dhabi are again two more strong tracks for McLaren. So and Red Bull probably doesn't want to take it to the last race again like 2021. So yeah, they'll probably turn on party mode and put it to bed. Try to put it to bed this race. So we'll see.
Hmm. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, folks. That's it for us today. We'll see you after after Brazil.
Yeah, let's hope for an exciting weekend. And if you have not
Yeah.
subscribed to the channel, you know what to do.
Yep.
Drop
Subscribe to
us
the
some
channel.
love.
Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram. We talk about a lot of sports. So yeah, get your friends in. If you don't like F1, you like basketball, you like soccer, yeah, still subscribe to us. We have a lot of content for you.
Yep.
All right.
Till next time,
Till next time, guys. See you.
and drive safe.
And get your seatbelt.